Hey guys, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III. I am your host. I appreciate you joining me today on Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. And I want to get your mind going this morning. But before I do, I want to go through the Daily Mastermind quote of the day. If you haven't checked out the quote of the day, you can go over to any of our social media pages. You're going to find it there. And today's quote is from Gene Valvano. And it's this. It's very simple. Listen close. Blame no one. Expect nothing. Do something. That's pretty much the marching orders to be able to create stuff in your life. But listen, I want to do something a little different today. I'm down in Scottsdale at our men's optimization clinic. I've got several projects that I've been working on. I've been working with a couple of our high-end CEOs as well that I work directly with. I only do that with a few people. But because of this stuff and because I've kind of had some time to myself in, by the way, an amazing area, it's been very relaxing. Despite being busy, I've had some thoughts, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some thoughts on life that I have and some things that have been on my mind, mostly because I'm talking to a lot of you lately, and I'm finding that you're looking for answers. Maybe some of you are struggling, maybe some of you are crushing it. I've talked with several individuals that are just killing it, but they're just not fulfilled. They're just not feeling that sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. And so I want to talk to you just a little bit about some thoughts that I've learned on life. And almost always when I have perspective I'm trying to get on life, I kind of defer to one of my mentors, Wayne Dyer. And Wayne Dyer he was just one of the most gifted guys when it came to perspective. And if you've read some of his books, you'll know that as he went through life, his perspective changed and his philosophies and focus changed. You can just see, he'd always talk about just the topics and titles of his books. You'll see how he evolves. But he had two thoughts that I think will really bring some comfort, clarity, and perspective to you. They're ones that I kind of apply in my life and I always go back to. The first is, he says, and I'm just paraphrasing here. He says, when you look back on the tapestry of your life, that's when you'll gain the perspective and meaning. Events in your life have a different meaning when you look back on them. And, several very successful people have said things like that, but this is a quote, this is a thought, this is a topic that helps you to understand that you don't always have the answers and the meaning of events and situations and circumstances that happen in your life. And you've probably learned, and you can do it right now, that when you look back on very difficult circumstances in your life, you can see perspective. You can see they happen for a reason. You can see what you learned from them. You can see how they affected and basically transitioned your life to where it's at. And so when you look back on the tapestry of your life, you're going to get perspective. So if you bring that knowledge into the present, it brings up a second thought that he's had, and that is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when you understand looking back that things have a perspective, and when you understand that you have the power to determine the meaning of thoughts in your life, you can determine what the situations, the circumstances, the events, the people, you can determine what they mean. Because acts and events and experiences don't have meaning except for the ones you give it. But you have the power to determine the meaning. You give the meaning to events in your life. So with these two thoughts in mind, I believe you need to look at your circumstances, your business, your relationships, your communication, everything you have right now, and you need to just understand that life continuously evolves. Your environment is evolving, your circumstances are evolving, your opportunities are evolving, and quite honestly, you're evolving. You know this by now, even though you're caught up in circumstances and situations in your life and you're struggling, or you're trying to push to the next level, or you're trying to figure out why certain things are happening, and you're going through these ups and downs and waves in life, you have to remind yourself that you are evolving. You're an individual that has extreme talents that you don't find out until you go outside your comfort zone. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you going to be consciously evolving, consciously creating the next level of your life, or are you unconsciously evolving because you're reacting to things in your life? I've told you many, many times on this podcast that I've had the benefit over 25, maybe 30 years now of learning from some amazing mentors. I've had great lessons. I've learned some life lessons. I've also even gained some experience, believe it or not, in money, business, family, personal, and finance. But, I went through these phases just like many of us where in my early career, I was chasing success. I was chasing it like you wouldn't believe. And I got a lot of success. I made a lot of money, had a great lifestyle, but it wasn't fulfilling. And I just something was missing. And so I went into that next phase of my life where I had success and I started just living life. I was living it to be more fulfilling and happy. And it was still relatively unfulfilling. Even though in hindsight, there were so many things about my life that should have been more fulfilling. But then I got to the phase of my life I am now, which many of us do as we get older. And that is you start to learn that if you change your perspective and you change your thoughts and you realize and recognize that you have beliefs, conscious and subconscious beliefs that you've created through your whole life that are affecting what you're doing, and you choose to go to the next level and start becoming a conscious creator of your life and stop reacting to everything else. It's like the famous quote from Jim Rohn that I love. It's my all-time favorite quote. He said, "Success is not to be pursued. It's to be attracted by the person that you become." So you're going to get to a point sometime, and maybe you've gone through it a couple of different times, but where you have to evolve your life. You have to consciously create your life. So how do you make change? How do you actually evolve and put your foot down and decide, I'm going to be the creator of the direction of my life? Well, if you're an entrepreneur, which I believe many of you are, or an owner, CEO, or high achiever, I believe from my experience, and you don't have to believe anything I say. You got to look back at your own life. But I believe there are 3 phases that you have to go to if you want to create change in your life. If you want to create the life that I believe you are meant to live, the life that you deserve to live, that you want to live. In order to do that, you have to get conscious and you have to start creating your life. And I believe you're going to have to go through 3 phases. The first is what I call evolution. You're going to have to learn that your thoughts create your life. Your thoughts are going to create your life, and your thoughts are going to determine whether or not your life is going in the direction you want. This is one of the reasons I created that Prosperity Pillars poster, because I recognized over my lifetime that success leaves clues, and that the most successful people I know have common messages that they didn't create, but they follow universal principles. That's those 12 prosperity pillars that I put in a poster, and I did that just so that I'd have that on a day-to-day basis, and then we ended up selling thousands and thousands of them. Probably, I don't even know how many. But that poster, let me give you those real quick. Just for those of you that are first time listening, the prosperity pillars, there's 12 of them, are these. I create my life. I take personal responsibility. I act in spite of my mood. I surround myself with positive people. I focus on solutions. I create an attitude of abundance. I choose to be happy. I always think win-win. I am committed to lifelong learning. I create daily rituals. I attract success, and I visualize and manifest my life. Now, those are so deep if you get into them and if you've heard any of our past podcasts, but those are principles. Those are foundational principles that you have to learn to adopt if you're going to be creating your life, if you're going to evolve this evolution phase that I talk about. And you're going to realize that your thoughts lead to feelings which determine your actions. And when you realize that that equation, thoughts lead to feelings, create actions, will determine your results, then you go deep and you start to learn that you have to be managing and controlling and directing your thoughts, because it will affect your feelings and your actions. So as you get into this phase where you realize your mindset, that you need to evolve and create an evolution in your life, then you get to that phase of unleashed. I talk about these 3 phases. Evolution, unleashed is the second phase. This is where you can really start to develop your unique talents. This is where you got to dig into your identity, and you've got to increase your skills and your talents. And you've got to learn that you have to operate outside your comfort zone. But when you have the power of that first phase and you've prioritized your mindset and thoughts, you realize that you can do anything. And so you start to build and grow and scale what you're doing. And once you start to do that, you're going to realize this third phase of legacy. See, I believe that these three phases of evolution, unleashed, and legacy, I talk about them a lot, are the three phases you got to go through. And you go through them multiple times in your life in order to truly create change and growth and success. You evolve your mindset, you unleash your skills and talents, and then you get to legacy and you realize that life is really about creating impact. It's about more than just yourself. It's about developing your unique talents around your purpose and your passion, which is what you decide for it to be. And on top of that, you start living from the inside out rather than the outside in, because you realize that the world around you doesn't care a bit as much about you as you do and about what is important to you. And so as you move through these three phases, I believe these are the phases you've got to move through in order to truly create change in your life. You've got to evolve, unleash your skills and talents, and focus on legacy. And that's just some thoughts that I had here as I was sitting here Sunday night getting ready for the week. I wanted to share those with you. But I'd love to hear what you think about this. I'd love to hear about what cycles you've been through in your life, what you're struggling with, what you've learned, how you're growing. And I want to hear about your experiences, because let's be honest. Your experience in life have created your beliefs. And if you want to change your beliefs so that your actions will change, you've got to dig into those experiences. So do me a favor, hit me up. You can go to jointheevolution.com, jointheevolution.com. That is my social media bio link. And so you'll see all the stuff, ways that we can work together. But on there, you'll see our pages and my email and phone, and you can get in touch with me. Let me know what it is that you've learned. I always am curious, but more importantly, I want to know what you're working on and what I can do to help you. But that's my thoughts and message for you today. I hope you've gotten something out of that. I hope it's got you thinking. And I look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. We've got a great interview tomorrow I'm going to be dropping with a very successful entrepreneur. And so I hope you'll join us every day this week. I'll talk with you soon. Once again, this has been the Daily Mastermind. And remember, it's never too late to start living that life you're meant to live.